Wrestling matches, as fans are well aware, are predetermined and choreographed. This practice ensures that the storyline will move ahead as planned. However, it happens all the time that plans are subject to change with a wrestler unexpectedly winning a match. The surprises can be pleasant and sometimes welcome, but other times they are just head in your hands bad. Fans can argue all day long about which times wrestling bookers made a terrible call and put the wrong superstar over in a match. So in this video, we list 10 major matches where the WWE booked the wrong superstar to win. Number 10, Hulk Hogan defeats Yokozuna in an impromptu main event at WrestleMania 9. WrestleMania 9 is considered one of the most forgettable events in WWE history. Bret Hart was in the midst of his first run as WWF champion. It was the post-Hulk Hogan era when the steroid crackdown on WWE forced Vince McMahon to start pushing physically smaller superstars. However, things didn't play out as expected in the main event. Bret Hart would lose the WWF title to Yokozuna, only for Hulk Hogan to make the save. It resulted in an impromptu title challenge for Hogan, who beat Yokozuna in less than 25 seconds to reclaim the WWF Championship. While it was well received by the live audience, the true picture told a different story. It was one where Hogan was alleged to have politicked his way into becoming the world champion once again. Bruce Pritchard even confirmed years later that the decision was made one night prior by Vince McMahon, and Hart, understandably so, felt as though it was a lack of trust towards him. Number 9, Triple H defeats Booker T at WrestleMania 19. Booker T was on the rise in 2003, while Triple H was in the midst of one of his many world title reigns. The story between Booker T and Triple H was simple, and the game did a great job at first in making himself detestable so fans could root for his rival. However, in a line that has not aged well, Triple H told Booker T that people like him weren't meant to succeed, something that is believed to have a racial implication. With all the heat in the storyline, the only logical outcome was for Booker T to become the world champion. However, in an underwhelming match, Triple H would shockingly retain his title, something that is still viewed as a horrible decision to this day. Ex-WWE writer Brian Gorwitz revealed later on that while he was personally behind Booker T becoming the world champ, the decision to have him lose was because the match was not the main event and the higher-ups feared that the win would get lost in the shuffle. Number 8, John Cena gets the win over Team Nexus at SummerSlam 2010. Next up is a match that many fans are still sour on. 2010 was largely dominated by the Nexus, a group of rookies from the original version of NXT looking to make a name for themselves. It worked out well, and the Wade Barrett-led faction seemed destined for stardom. It all came to a head at SummerSlam 2010 when John Cena led Team WWE in a star-studded squad comprised of top names. It seemed to be a foregone conclusion, though, that the Nexus would get the big win to establish themselves as a dominant force, but reports eventually came out that Cena personally decided against the finish in his favor. Some of the Nexus members were vocal over the years about how the decision ruined their momentum. Cena himself has denied politicking and changing the match outcome. Number 7, Triple H beats CM Punk at Night of Champions 2011. Back in 2011, CM Punk was still playing the anti-establishment character who fought against the likes of John Cena and Triple H, men who fully represented the corporate side of WWE at the time. During WWE's Summer of Punk, he found himself clashing with the Game Triple H, who had become a part-time star then. While the storyline revolved around Punk, fans were surprised when Triple H picked up the W at Night of Champions in 2011. Over 3 years later on the infamous Colt Cabana podcast, Punk expressed his resentment against the Game for that decision. and it is well known that the two are not fond of each other in real life either. Number 6, John Cena defeats the returning Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules 2012. This feud began on the night after WrestleMania 28, where John Cena lost to The Rock. He came out to accept defeat, and it was then that Brock Lesnar made his stunning return after many years. He made an instant impact by attacking John Cena, setting up a match between the two at Extreme Rules 2012. Given that Lesnar was returning, it only made sense for the WWE to re-establish him with a win over Cena. However, Cena would surprisingly defeat Brock Lesnar in a solid match. It didn't take long for Brock Lesnar to regain his momentum, but at the time, it felt like the wrong superstar had won. Number 5, Batista wins the 2014 Royal Rumble. Next up on the list is one of the more controversial Royal Rumble victories. Batista was making his return to WWE after nearly 4 years, and he declared his entry into the Royal Rumble match. He instantly became a favorite to win, but fans weren't happy as they only wanted one superstar to get the win, and that was Daniel Bryan. Even Batista admitted in hindsight that he knew he was gonna get booed, and he wanted to return as a heel, something that eventually happened. Thankfully for fans, they still got their way as Daniel Bryan would make it into the main event of WrestleMania 30. Number 4, Roman Reigns wins the 2015 Royal Rumble. By early 2015, the Shield had been broken up for over half a year, and rumors emerged that Roman Reigns was the guy who would take down John Cena for his title. Unfortunately, fans were hopeful again that Daniel Bryan would get the Royal Rumble win, but he would unfortunately be eliminated early on. Philadelphia would then shower Roman Reigns with boos as he was the obvious pick to win the Royal Rumble. It's funny to look back at how WWE desperately scrambled to get fans to cheer for Reigns, including having The Rock make a surprise appearance to help his cousin, but this would all backfire big time. Number 3, Triple H defeats Sting at WrestleMania 31. It's still bizarre to think that Sting lost his WWE debut singles match at WrestleMania 31. The Icon was considered the best wrestler to never compete in the WWE, and it was certainly a fair statement given his incredible body of work. When Sting debuted at Survivor Series 2014, it seemed like big things were coming. It led to a dream match against the Game, Triple H at WrestleMania 31. Now, fans were shocked, including myself, when Sting not only lost, but he shook the hand of a man who cheated to defeat him. Sting explained the decision by stating that he thought it was going to be his retirement match. Number 2, Randy Orton defeats Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 33. Bray Wyatt's WWE career from 2013 to 2021 can be summed up by this one match. While Wyatt has always been known for his impeccable character work, WWE refusing to give him a big win on a big stage hampered his momentum more often than not. His Wyatt family storyline with Randy Orton was one of the highlights of WWE TV, and it all went well until a month before their match. By that point, Wyatt had already won the WWE Championship, and a match against Randy Orton at WrestleMania 33 was the logical direction. While fans hoped for Wyatt to retain the title, what we got instead was a bad match before Orton defeated Wyatt to become the WWE Champ. The match was not only underwhelming, but Orton didn't need to win the championship at all. Number 1, Goldberg defeats Bray Wyatt to become the Universal Champion at Super ShowDown 2020. This was the disaster that happened a month before the pandemic. It was February 2020, and Bray Wyatt was the reigning Universal Champion. It only seemed logical for him to take the title into WrestleMania, but instead WWE had him lose it to Goldberg at Super ShowDown. What was worse was that Wyatt was wrestling as The Fiend, a character that was portrayed as unstoppable. This was the best and most ruthless version of Wyatt, and it was all undone in a matter of minutes. The logic of having Goldberg be the one to topple The Fiend was seemingly the beginning of the end for Wyatt's first WWE run, despite him winning the title back later in 2020. That's gonna do it for our list today, everybody. Be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling to keep up to date with all the top wrestling news around the world.